He's a super duper star, a 22-game hit streak for Bobby Witt Jr. among the longest Royals hit streak in franchise history. 9-1, by the way, collectively as a team in their last 10 games. Seth Lugo talking about how a lot of, the pressure is kind of wearing off for Kansas City after being a playoff team. What's been the difference the last couple weeks, would you say, with the Royals?
Well, they're starting to hit a little bit.
Okay.
They've always had very good starting pitching, third in all of baseball. I think it's really a testament to really the coaching staff and this organization that has figured out a way to keep the ship moving and, as you said, alluded to with the playoff team last year. But I want to dig a little deeper. I mean, look, you just said it, Lauren. The last 10 games, they're 9-1. Hottest team in baseball with respect to their win-loss record. But I want to go into what happens. And if you look at the run differential here, minus 25 in the first 22 games, they were 8-14. So clearly they weren't getting enough runs across. The 2.9 went to 4.2. So everything was on the up, no question about it. This was always very respectable with the starters, but you see that 2.15, it's even taking it to the next level. But I want to go a little further, like give some of these guys love, and I know where eventually it's going to end with Bobby Witt Jr. But this is a team now that I believe they know who they are and they know what they're capable of doing. But as I mentioned, in this last 10 games, 7 of their hitters now are batting over 300. You got Drew Waters at 378. Of course, Sal Perez, I think he's going to the Hall of Fame. 423 batting average in there. Miguel Garcia, 359. I'm making my point. Kyle Isbell, he's batting over 350. These guys are starting to hit. You have compliments of guys that have to do it other than Bobby Witt Jr. at shortstop. Their starting rotation, I mentioned, third best rotation in baseball, second best last year. So you got guys with Lugo and Bubic, and Lorenzen's been good. I mean, they've done it. This pickup here, Carlos Estevez, he's got 9 saves. You put Urseg back. He's nasty left-hander. You've got some depth there with respect to their bullpen. This is a legit team, and they're starting to believe it. But I'll tell you, I wanted to show the highlight guy right here. Don't question about it. And you got what goes on here with Bobby Witt Jr., and it goes through him. This is the resume by Kamba, and you see his statistics. This is what a baseball player should look like. I can't say enough about Bobby Witt Jr. You see his accolade of what he's got. Gave him a couple years ago, 11-year deal, much deserving. But I wanted to show that this guy is the man, right? So you get the resume by Kamba here. As I said, this is it. Second to Aaron Judge, all of baseball, batting average. This guy can run, fastest sprint speed. Leads all the shortstop with 20 outs above average. This guy's a defender. He can run. He can hit. Yes, even last year with the 32 home runs, he's got power. Let's go into it. I want to give him some love. Yeah, we got the Royals, but he is the king of the Royals, no doubt about it. This is what a baseball player looks like. If you look at some of these at-bats here, fights, doesn't matter. He's going to hit a P-Rod up the middle, fastball, 95. You got a high cheese at 0-2 count, 96 from Rasmussen, stays on it, goes the other way. This is great hitting, folks. You look at the strike zone and figure out how to pitch him. Well, there it is right here. He's got a 22-game hitting streak. I wanted to go back to what Dean Kramer's going to have to deal with. These are some of those at-bats there. They got the breaking ball down in the zone. A 3-2 slider and puts it in the seats. This is Baz right here. Back it up right here, Lucas. I know I'm going a little fast here, but you got in the 5th inning, 2 outs, runner at second base. He throws 98, 99 miles an hour. The mindset of understanding what is on the mound, what's the strength and weakness, and how I'm going to handle it. Watch this right here at contact. Play this right here and stop. The up and away window. This is an area where, if I'm going to show you in the heat zone, that has been maybe a soft spot. Not many soft spots for him. It's usually typically soft down in the zone and some elevated high fastball. Can't say enough about this. Stays on the baseball, goes opposite field for a home run in a 1-1 game in the 5th inning for the Royals. This is awesome. He's got that bat-to-ball skill. No question about it. The 22-game hitting streak right here, you can't say enough about his ability. I want to go into the speed. This is a guy that understands when he hits a ball, left center, right center, he's thinking double. If it actually goes to the wall, it's triple. He has exceptional speed. Defensive, I mentioned he's got the best shortstop, but runs saved here. He crossed the bat. A really good arm. Instincts are through the roof. Obviously, I can't say enough about Bobby Witt Jr., and I know we talk about that a lot. I know D-Row loves him. Who doesn't? But this is what he's going to deal with. I wanted to show, where do you pitch this guy? And there are some guys where, and I thought about this when Tony Gwynn back in the day, that how you pitch to Tony Gwynn was make sure the 2 guys in front of him are out and put it in the area where he keeps it in the park. I'm not kidding. Where do you go here? So there's small area. This is versus right-handers as I show up there. You see upstairs here, it's a little bit light with the 231-67. Red everywhere else. You got non-fastballs. I wanted to use all the breaking ball, slider, curveball, split, changeup. There's really not a whole lot of spots. So tonight in Baltimore versus Dean Kramer, I wanted to show a couple of the ABs. This is earlier in the year. We got the first at bat here. He's ended up slider down the zone. Nice pitch. Actually, it was a cutter. Pitch, aggressive. He beats it out. Okay, so there's the hit there. Got another in the 3rd inning. Little same pitch that he grounded out on. The cutter down the way. Another cutter away. Pulls off a little bit. You got an 0-2 count. Hits it hard. That's a changeup right at the left fielder. We got a little 1-for-2 action. End up third at bat here. High cheese at 92, running in on his hands. I showed you on that hot zone. Perfect pitch right there, Hall of Fame pitch. Went slider, curveball in the dirt. Where's he going to go right now? Another little slider down and away. Look at this. Look at the speed. Almost beats out a 4-hopper to second base. Can't say enough about it. Look right here. We got since 2024. I'm beating it home, but this is a guy when he's locked in. Where do you go? I showed the hot cold zone. There's probably some soft spot down and away. If you got enough fastball upstairs and you get him a little bit jumpy, maybe he swings. He's the only player in Major League Baseball with the 300-plus average, plus a 500-plus slug on all 3 pitches. He is that special. And I can't say enough in case you guys didn't really figure it out. Yes, I do like Bobby Witt Jr.
Make sure the other guys are out. How do you pitch?
Yeah,
It was so good.
Well, that was it. It was like, how do you pitch to Tony Gwynn? He's like, make sure the other 2 guys are out, and you pitch with
And then pray.
nobody on base.
And with that 22-game hitting streak and with his speed, he has a chance to really push it to 30 and beyond because he can get those.
That's such a good
hits.
point.
So, good stuff, Al.
Now it's time for Ask the Experts, presented by CFP. Rhett Bollinger covers the Angels on a daily basis for MLB.com. He's kind enough to join us now for the state of the Halos. Rhett, good to see you. Thanks for joining us here on the National Pregame Show. I want to begin with Mike Trout. Leaves the game yesterday with a knee soreness. What is the latest on number 27?
Well, Mike Trout said yesterday he was hopeful that he'd be able to play today and be in the lineup, but unfortunately, he's not in the lineup tonight. So we'll find out more from manager Ron Washington, possibly Trout here pregame. But yesterday, he did it running to first base. He landed on first base awkwardly with his left knee. He thinks it's a minor injury, but in the past, we've seen Mike have these kind of injuries, and they seem to linger. So the hope is it's just minor, and he'll be back in a few days, series day to day, but you never know with Trout with his injury history.
And Rhett, as we look at numbers on the year for Mike Trout, he's hitting 179. Has he looked frustrated? I mean, I know the Angels have lost 5 in a row, but has he personally talked about his struggles at the plate to start 2025?
He stays pretty positive. He's trying to find his swing. Right now, the power's there. He's got a lot of home runs, but it's kind of similar to last year before his injury as well, where he had a low batting average, which is not like Trout in the past. He's not really drawing walks like he used to. He's trying to work with his mechanics and try to fix his bat wrap, is what he calls it, with his swing, with his mechanics. So he's trying to get on track. I'm sure he is frustrated, but he does a pretty good job of staying pretty even keel and pretty positive, especially around us. But I'm sure it's getting to him because he wants to prove that he's the Mike Trout of old, the 3-time MVP and 11-time All-Star. But so far, it hasn't happened, and he's not alone. This team has struggled offensively out of the gates here.
Earlier this year, I was watching a game the Angels were playing, and Ron Washington made a move to the bullpen, and a reliever really didn't get a full warm-up in that pen. I'm a huge Ron Washington fan. And then on Wednesday, we see 2 relievers go to the mound at the same time. Ryan Johnson from the dugout, Jake Eater from the bullpen to start the 8th inning. Johnson had to stay in the game, gave up a single instead of bringing the lefty. What is the talk right now of how organized things are being managed for the Angels?
Yeah, that was definitely an awkward situation there. Apparently, Ryan Johnson, he's a rookie who never even played in the minors before making the team this year. Apparently didn't hear them in the dugout when they told him he was done. Instead, he ran out, and by rule, because he went out on the field, he had to face a batter. They were fortunate that Jake Eater got a double play to get out of it, but not a good look. Right now, this coaching staff is trying to get these guys going because they're really struggling offensively as a team, and the pitching staff's been kind of hit or miss as well. So a lot of pressure here on this staff, and even Ron Washington, is in his last year of his contract. The GM, Perry Manassian, signed an extension last year, but the coaching staff is a little bit in limbo, so they got to kind of get it going here and get that offense going and be more organized and not have an embarrassing play like that happen like it did in Seattle.
Well, if I'm a fan of the Angels here, Rhett, and if I paid attention to spring training at all, the spark, the name everyone was buzzing about was Christian Moore. This former first-round pick who just tore the cover off the ball in springs in the minor leagues right now. If this team's lost 5 in a row, having a hard time scoring runs, is there a chance Christian Moore could be called up to the big leagues anytime soon?
I would think so at this point. They're looking for a spark. They called up Gustavo Campero a few days ago, and he played in his first game. He was having good numbers in the minors, and Christian Moore is their top prospect. He's a guy they took last year in the draft out of University of Tennessee, where he won a College World Series, and he's got a lot of power for a second baseman. And so they're trying to get him to kind of unlock that. He didn't show that much power in spring early in the year, but he's coming off a really big week offensively, and this team needs a spark any way they can get it. And he would have been up here last September if it weren't for a knee injury. So I do think he's very close, and someone they definitely could use, especially with Kyron Paris struggling since his hot start.
All right, Rhett, before I let you go, I feel like I have to ask about Anthony Rendon. Will we see him at all this year in an Angels uniform or ever again play for the Angels?
In my opinion, I don't think we'll ever see him play for the Angels again. I think this year he's just going to miss the season with the injury. I can't imagine they're going to want him back next year. He's still owed, though, $38.5 million next year, but the contract's finally going to expire. It's been a rough one for the Angels to have to deal with that, with the injuries and everything else with it. So even in Houston, he didn't show up to any of the games in Houston where he was rehabbing. So at this point, I don't think we'll ever see him with the Angels ever again.
Wow. Rhett Bollinger, great stuff. He covers the Angels for MLB.com. I wanted John to fill us in what's going on with the Halos. They were my surprise team coming out of spring training. Love the vibe, but right now, 12-17 on the season, just not getting it done. Rhett, thank you so much. We appreciate it.